Что ты думаешь по поводу того, что тебя сместили внезапно с первой строчки Pound for Pound?
Ну, это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Massive fight would be Ilia versus Islam too. Well, the other thing is too is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you know, you immediately have a super fight with him and Ilia. So.
The Dagestani champ Islam Makhachev is rumored to be gearing up for a blockbuster clash with Ilia Topuria after his showdown with Jack Della Maddalena. Even Ilia Topuria hinted at the potential matchup, calling it a massive fight. He acknowledged the significance of a clash with Islam Makhachev and suggested that, depending on how Islam performs in his upcoming bout, either Makhachev could drop down in weight or Ilia could move up to make the fight happen.
We'll see how he does in the welterweight division. If he wins the title, I win the title in the lightweight division. Maybe I move up or he comes down to the lightweight division and we have the fight that everyone wants to see.
In addition, Dana White has echoed similar sentiments, hinting that if Islam Makhachev captures the title, a potential super fight could be on the table. He acknowledged the magnitude of such a matchup and suggested that the UFC would seriously consider making it happen, given the star power and stakes involved.
Massive fight would be Ilia versus Islam too. Well, the other thing is too is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you know, you immediately have a super fight with him and Ilia. So
I mean, this is all talk.
Speculative.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine that's a fight you guys would want to make at some point. I mean, just the magnitude
Sure.
of it.
I mean, I'd make that fight tomorrow.
Hearing Dana make such claims, Islam has doubled down and started putting even more effort into his training so that he can win against JDM and secure the fight. Responding to the news, Ilia Topuria stated that if Islam Makhachev doesn't come out victorious, he has no issue squaring off with Jack Della Maddalena instead. According to Topuria, that would be an equally intriguing and exciting fight, and he's open to testing himself against anyone who poses a real challenge.
Jack is, like, he's a big fucking guy too, right?
That fight would be great also.
You versus Jack?
Yeah, I would love to fight him.
I saw Khabib said that he thinks that Jack is a harder fighter for Islam than you.
But he's gonna say that's the fight they have ahead. They're not gonna say, no, we are fighting a easier opponent than Ilia. He has to say that. There's always respect.
Of course.
How you cannot respect like people who's fighting for their dreams and they work hard. But another thing is that when it comes to the competition, me against you, I'm always going to choose myself.
Adding to that, Islam Makhachev stated that he and Ilia Topuria will eventually meet in a showdown that could be billed as a battle for the pound-for-pound crown. However, he admitted that such branding is largely a marketing tactic used to generate hype around the matchup. Islam emphasized that the UFC doesn't actually need to label it a pound-for-pound fight to capture fan interest.
Что ты думаешь по поводу того, что тебя сместили внезапно с первой строчки Pound for Pound?
Ну, это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Just one word. It's called best fighter in the world. That's it. I'm at the pound for pound king right now. It's mean you can beat all your opponents, whatever you want.
Ilia, having recently dethroned Islam Makhachev from the top spot on the pound-for-pound rankings, received acknowledgement from the Weasel, who explained that he understands why Ilia now holds that position. He noted that Ilia's dominant performances and consistency justify his ranking. However, the Weasel added that if Islam defeats Jack Della Maddalena, there's a strong chance he could reclaim the #1 spot in the pound-for-pound conversation.
Islam Makhachev has been dethroned. Ilia Topuria is now officially the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, according to the UFC rankings. He rolls up 2 spots above Islam. Now Islam's #2, Merab is 3, Dricus is 4, and Pantoja is 5. Could he be above Dricus? Maybe, but I'm happy enough that he's at least in the top 5. No complaints there. Honestly, man, I can see Ilia being number 1. I can see it. I don't have too much of an argument one way or another, except for one thing. I guess it depends on how JDM versus Islam goes. If Islam beats JDM, then he's probably going to be number 1 after. Ilia's a 2-division champion. What does pound for pound mean? Skills that could translate to different weight classes. Pretty much if everybody was the same weight class, who is the best fighter? Moving to different weight classes is a key point in that.
Additionally, the Weasel emphasized that Ilia Topuria has validated his pound-for-pound ranking by successfully transferring his skills from featherweight to lightweight, showing that his dominance isn't limited to just one division. In contrast, he pointed out that Islam Makhachev still needs to prove himself against Jack Della Maddalena to truly solidify his position.
Islam hasn't done that yet. Ilia has done that twice in his career, and now just won the lightweight title in the first round against Charles Oliveira, who Islam of course beat. There is that argument that Islam already beat Charles, and beat Charles when he was champion, but Ilia did it as a featherweight moving up to lightweight. Islam was always a lightweight. That's why it's different. In my opinion, Ilia is above Islam because of 2 things. Number 1, he moved up and won a second belt. And secondly, it's the way that Ilia is winning his fights. I think this whole debate between Ilia and Islam is confused by one main thing. People are comparing their wins as if they weren't in different weight classes. Like people are saying Islam and Ilia both beat Volk and they both beat Charles and Dustin's a better win than Max. That is true if they all did that in the same weight class, but they're a weight class apart. They didn't do it in the same division.
Adding to that, Michael Venom Page noted that he's been observing Ilia Topuria closely, both his training methods and his mentality. He pointed out that Ilia carries an unwavering confidence and emphasized that such a mindset is absolutely essential at the highest level of competition if you truly want to win.
So Topuria is something special, as we've all seen. He is definitely something special. He's very unique. I've been watching and studying a lot of his training and how he's this mentality.
Yeah,
he's exceptional.
Ultra confident.
Ultra confident.
He was celebrating one day before.
Ultra confident, but you have to be that. You need that into this game.
However, he also acknowledged that Islam Makhachev is a special kind of fighter, naturally heavier and physically stronger than Ilia Topuria. So when all other factors are evenly matched, he believes you have to give the edge to the fighter with more size and power. And in this case, that was Islam.
Islam is just, again, something special and the heavier guy, the naturally heavier guy. So I have to give it. When everything's even, you have to give it to the person that's probably going to bring more power.
Yeah, because I was watching an interview of Sarukian, and he was saying that if you watch Topuria's fight with Bryce Mitchell.
Yes.
The first round, Bryce Mitchell had him down in like a half guard position or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he said if Bryce Mitchell can do that, imagine what
exactly. And that's what again
will do. Yeah.
Obviously, Bryce Mitchell is very aggressive in that area.
Moreover, Dana White praised Ilia Topuria, acknowledging that everything Ilia has set his sights on, he's achieved. He emphasized that Ilia is not just a top-tier fighter, but a true star in the making, consistently backing up his words with performances that elevate his profile both inside and outside the octagon.
Do you think that he gives Islam a run for the money he is pound for pound right now?
Yeah, it's interesting because, he did exactly what he said he's going to do. He is an absolute complete fighter. Stand up is beautiful, ground, grappling, everything. This kid's a star. He's on a great 3-fight win streak for sure. All legends that he knocked out. I don't know. I don't know where he sits pound for pound punching power, but moving up a weight class like that and doing what you say you're going to do in the first round and the way he did it is very impressive.
Adding to that, the Weasel pointed out that Ilia Topuria deserves the #1 spot in the rankings because of the caliber of opponents he has defeated and the names he has taken out along the way.
Ilia moving up to the next weight class and knocking out Charles can be argued to be better than Islam beating Charles in his own division, right? Because Ilia moved up, so that's why I could see Ilia being #1 above Islam. And of course, Islam beat Renato Moicano and he beat Thiago Moises and Bobby Green and Drew Dober and some other decent fighters like B-tier fighters, whereas Ilia beat Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell, and Yusuf Zalal. So the Armin win for Islam is actually one of the main selling points in Islam being #1 above Ilia because all the other wins are comparable, right? Like you could compare the Charles wins, you can compare the Dustin versus Max wins and the Volk wins and all that stuff, right? Ilia beat Josh Emmett, which is better than Bobby Green.
Doubling down, Weasel emphasized that he would rank Ilia Topuria higher because of the difficulty and significance of jumping weight classes and still managing to win a title. He pointed out that becoming becoming a champion in 2 divisions speaks volumes about Ilia's skill set and adaptability, making his case for the #1 pound-for-pound spot even stronger.
But I think it is a really good debate. If I were to pick who I would have #1, I would lean to Ilia because he moved up and won a second belt. I think that's the breaking point. And Islam has his opportunity to do that right now. He's gonna be fighting JDM. And if he beats JDM, I think he's #1 pound for pound. I think it's fair enough, right? If Islam loses to JDM, then for sure he's not above Ilia. So I agree with Ilia, Islam, Merab. Dricus over Pantoja, I can see it. Just in the UFC, Pantoja beat Kai Kara-France twice, if we count the Ultimate Fighter, Kai Asakura, Steve Ursag, Brennan Royval twice, Brennan Moreno 3 times, twice if we don't include the Ultimate Fighter, and only the 1 Moreno win if we're just looking at the most recent reign that they have, right? Because he beat Moreno the 2nd time in 2018. And of course, that wasn't the same Moreno that he fought in the 3rd fight. 3rd fight Moreno was prime Moreno.
Furthermore, Alexander Volkanovski, having shared the cage with both Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, offered a revealing comparison between the 2 experiences. He noted that while the knockout against Ilia appeared more severe due to how long he was out, the aftermath of the Islam fight was actually worse. According to Volkanovski, the symptoms he experienced post-fight indicated a harder concussion from Islam.
From the Islam, I feel like I had more of a concussion from the Islam one.
Yeah,
even though I was knocked out longer with Ilia, I had a lot more of the symptoms than that with the Islam one. So I probably should have had more of a break.
Moreover, Demetrius Johnson didn't hesitate in backing Islam Makhachev in a potential showdown with Ilia Topuria. He laid out a clear blueprint of how he believes Islam would get the job done.
Islam's a southpaw, so he's gonna probably throw body kicks to keep his arms busy, keep the distance, move, feint, maybe use some judo to take him down and try to get him to the ground and try to submit him. But, you know, once again, like I have to see, you know, I have to see what Islam does to JDM. But, you know, I know the one thing that's the factor is that Ilia is always going to focus on getting to the right spot and fighting his opponents. When he gets there, he's going to unload. If Ilia can't get there, then he's going to figure another way to get there. So the question is, how does everybody avoid that sweet spot against Ilia?
However, before Islam versus Ilia can materialize, Makhachev has an opponent right in front of him in Jack Della, and he will be fighting him for the title at welterweight. Building on that, Islam Dulatov pushed back on the idea that Islam Makhachev will have an easy time against Jack Della Maddalena. While he expects Makhachev to win, he believes the fight won't be simple. He pointed out that Islam is big for lightweight but not at welterweight, where JDM looks heavier. He also highlighted the style clash where Makhachev has the edge on the ground, while JDM is the sharper striker.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks. Because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game. And I think
ultimately Dulatov sided with Makhachev, stating he expects Islam to win, but emphasized it will be a very tough fight.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
Oh, you really?
I say, I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know, like because I see in the comments like a lot of people, oh JDM, it's over for you. You know, like people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, that's a reason why he's there. You know, why he's a champ. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, but Islam going to win for sure.
Interestingly, Bedtime MMA stated that in his view, there isn't anyone on the current UFC roster who can beat Jack Della Maddalena. He explained that while Jack's striking is elite, the only fighters who could potentially give him trouble are those who can effectively blend grappling with striking.
I might have to bring in fucking Steve Owen. I might have to bring in fucking Thanos. Like, maybe Thanos might be able to beat JDM. Maybe he stuffs a couple of you know, takedowns and you know, land some good shot. Dude, who am I actually beating to beat JDM? I feel like obviously you could be like, dude, GSP destroys JDM. I don't think he does. I think GSP always wore damage very, very badly, and he had a good jab, he had good boxing, good defense, good footwork. great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu. GSP is, in my opinion, like straight up one of the two most well-rounded fighters in UFC history. GSP is so fucking good. And I have no doubt he would have an extremely competitive fight with JDM. I'm talking straight up nightmare matchup.
Moreover, Bedtime MMA noted that we've already seen Jack Della Maddalena tested against a pressure striker like Bilal Muhammad. However, he emphasized that to truly beat JDM, one needs to look at his toughest matchups, fighters who either mixed in grappling effectively or maintained distance, making it difficult for Jack to land clean combinations.
Right, we've seen JDM against a pressure boxing guy trying to take him down in Bilal Muhammad. I'm not comparing Bilal Muhammad to GSP. Bilal Muhammad literally has a better resume. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm trying to be serious here about what actual matchup. And I think that to beat JDM, you look at his hardest fights. These are people that mixed in grappling well, right? Really, really effectively mixed in their wrestling like Basil Hafez. Or in the Kevin Holland fight, somebody that kept him at a longer distance and was hard to land clean combinations on. Burns landed some nice elbows as well. And I've only seen JDM throughout his career get rocked and dropped with a head kick. And obviously, you know, Alden Bates and Darcy Vendy beat him as well.
Additionally, Islam Dulatov revealed that during the Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena matchup, he was firmly supporting Bilal. He explained that his backing came from the strong personal bond they shared, making Bilal's success feel more meaningful to him on a personal level.
Were you surprised at all by the Bilal and JDM outcome?
Yes, actually, yes, because I was rooting for Bilal, you know, and because I know him, like, not personally, but from Instagram, we have sometimes some conversations, you know, he's a good guy, and yeah, you know, I was rooting for him, you know, because I like him.
Speaking on JDM and Islam, Volkanovski identified the difference in the styles and fighting patterns between the two fighters, admitting he will be on his way helping his Aussie brother to get the win and defeat Islam.
Bilal is, he will, you know, you get people that are worried about the takedown. So like, and then they don't fight their fight on the feet. I'm gonna fight my fight and worry about the takedown when it's there.
Exactly.
And that's perfect, you need to be like that. For me, like with Islam, was like, I'm gonna do my thing. Yeah, I'll be worried about it, but at the same time, find the shots to go in, boom, boom, boom. But I'll worry about the takedown when they're there. But I'm still committed to things.
Once you realize you can handle it, then you were just like, this shit, I can handle it.
And the confidence Jack Della is going to have now from getting through that, even though he's going to be confident. And then there's another one when you're successful with guys that are very dominant there. When you have the success there, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now you end up even that much better at takedown. And then he's going to do a lot more.
Adding another layer, Bedtime MMA also highlighted that the most effective ways to attack Jack Della Maddalena involve a combination of elbows, head kicks, sharp jabs, and a well-integrated ground game. He suggested that applying these tools can disrupt JDM's rhythm, potentially rock him, and open a path to edging out a win.
I think the biggest weapons we've seen consistently from prime JDM used against him are elbows, head kicks, jabs, like long-range weapons where they don't really let him like sit him down against the fence and start to go combination for combination, like where they just pick at him at range. And if they mix in the grappling and they've got solid jiu-jitsu like a Gilbert Burns, like they can really control somebody and get to positions where he can't just get back up, right? Bilal Muhammad got on top of him in half guard. JDM just got back up because Bilal has no submission threat whatsoever. And I think against Islam Makhachev, that's going to be the most dangerous factor is the submissions. But I think the physicality of JDM is going to help him in that fight. So I'm looking for a pure welterweight.
On the other hand, Gilbert Burns shared his thoughts, saying it's going to be a great one. He noted that Islam Makhachev has been working hard to properly gain weight for the 170-pound division and emphasized that Islam is naturally a big guy. Burns added that the move to welterweight should actually benefit Islam, as he had been draining himself to make 155.
That's going to be a great fight. Islam is working very hard. He's being vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's big. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know. I think he was a little okay. If you're going up, we gotta. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. And yeah, I like him moving up. proving himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think.
Breaking down the dynamic further, Gilbert Burns highlighted the intriguing dynamic brought in by Alexander Volkanovski's involvement in Jack Della Madalena's camp. He pointed out that Volkanovski's experience, especially having fought Islam Makhachev, will be valuable in helping JDM prepare and Craig Jones in breaking down Islam's fight pattern. Considering all these factors, Burns believes JDM has a legitimate shot at winning this fight.
Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of crack the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating Islam, you know?
So in the end, whether it's Islam Makhachev rising to the occasion once again, or Ilia Topuria continuing his meteoric ascent, one thing is clear. The road to pound-for-pound supremacy runs straight through war. With Jack Della Maddalena standing in the way and legacy on the line, this isn't just about belts anymore. It's about dominance, weight classes be damned, and proving who really runs the fight game. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode with more exciting updates.